Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. Another day, another camping video. In this one we're talking about PlayStation 4, PlayStation 2, Nintendo Switch, Google Stadia, and a retro gaming handheld. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off here talking about PlayStation 2 emulation on Android with Aether SX2, and we've got a brand new version that's about to hit the Google Play Store. The entire write-up about this new version is available on Aether SX2's Patreon. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. We're just going over things at a high level here. So version 1.3 of Aether SX2 is about to hit the Google Play Store, and this one is a bit of a slower rollout. Some devices might get the update before others, so just be patient here. There's some additional testing that's required. If you don't see it right away, eventually you should hopefully see it. On top of that, version 1.3 brings in some massive performance improvements, from between 5 to 15% based on the game you're playing. There's also an interesting developer's note that says Aether SX2 has reached a level of maturity where future performance improvements, big ones, are not going to be easy. And if you're looking for Aether SX2 on a 32-bit device, the developer says it's not going to happen. So here's a quick comparison between version 1.2 of Aether SX2 and the brand new version 1.3. This is on a Poco F3 with a Snapdragon 870. The red is the after and the blue is before. You can see there is a pretty big performance improvement. The developer also points out that performance improvements will vary between game to game and also device to device. In the chart beside me here on the left hand side is the AYN Odin. It's got a Snapdragon 845. On the right-hand side is the Poco F3 with a Snapdragon 870. You can see the F3 has a much better performance gain across the board, but the 845 isn't doing too bad either. A new change you'll notice with version 1.3 is that MTBU is defaulted to on, and that is to help out with performance. If you're noticing some slowdowns in some games that were previously running well, just go on ahead and disable it. There's also been a number of bug fixes and some general game improvements. There's a new auto hide feature for touch controls, and you can specify how long you want it to take before those touch controls disappear, and then they'll reappear as soon as the screen is touched. You can now bind your touch screen to the right stick, and there's also invert stick options if you like to play inverted. On top of that, button dead zone options have been added, display alignment options have been added. It's now super easy to import or export your data, and there's a brand new functionality here to download cover art for your games. There's a new affinity control mode called Performance Cores. If you've got a Pixel or Samsung device, you might want to check this one out. It might help out performance. Honestly, this is a pretty big month for Aether SX2, and you've got to hand it to Talrith and the rest of the team working on this emulator. All hail the blue cube. Next up, we're skipping ahead a few generations and talking about PlayStation 4 emulation on PC with Obliteration. Now, for those who are unaware, Obliteration is a fork of Kitty. We've talked about this one in a few videos, but if you want to see it in action, Brutal Sam's got you covered. So I will leave a link to Brutal Sam's video in the description below, and I definitely recommend checking it out. At this point in time, there is no gameplay footage, so just to warn you on that one. But it does show you how the menu system is functioning, and I think that's really interesting in itself. It's also worth pointing out that PS4 emulation is in extremely early stages of development. There is no official release of Obliteration just yet. This is more of a sneak peek. Next up, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on Android with Egg NS, just not the fake version of Egg NS that you can see here. We're talking about the real version of Egg NS, which has just appeared on the Google Play Store. It's no secret that I'm not a really big fan of Egg NS. I mean, they've been accused and arguably strongly proven of stealing code from Yuzu, Ryujinx, and even Skyline, bundling it up in a hacked-up emulator that really doesn't perform that well and then try to charge you for it in the meantime. I don't recommend picking up this emulator. But this is emulation news, and well, this is an emulator. So aside from the whole pay model of this emulator, which I don't agree with at all, at least here they say in terms of data safety, they don't share data with third parties and they don't collect data. I'm not entirely sure I believe this, but that's what they're saying. So version 3.1.2 of Egg NS is on the Google Play Store, and if you notice here for in-app purchases, because this emulator is not necessarily free. It ranges from $129 up to $80, which is insane. They also state this emulator is compatible with hundreds of games and most games, so most out of the hundreds of games can reach full FPS. I want to call BS on that claim. And truth be told here, for Switch emulation on Android, I'd recommend Skyline all day, every day over Egg NS. Now, Skyline might not work as well with certain games like Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey, but at the same time, this one is coming along nicely. It's free, it's open source. It's helping out Yuzu and Ryujinx and Yuzu are helping out Skyline. In fact, the developers of Skyline are also helping out other emulators. In my opinion, it's only a matter of time before Skyline makes an emulator like Egg NS completely irrelevant, like AetherSX2 did with Daemon PS2. In fact, here is Super Mario Odyssey up and running at about 24 frames per second on a Google Pixel 6. One of these does not have a Snapdragon. Performance is getting a heck of a lot better, and it's looking a lot better. But speaking about what's not looking better, and next up here we're talking about Google Stadia, and this spells the end of the service. Yes, Google Stadia is officially shutting down. I'll leave a link to this article in the description below in the event that you do want to check it out. But it basically details the end of Google Stadia as we know it. So Google Stadia will officially shut down on January 18th of 2023, not too long from now. And in a good move from Google, they're completely refunding all hardware purchases made through the Google Store and all game and add-on purchases, complete refunds. So while mostly everyone saw the writing on the wall about Google Stadia from launch of Google Stadia, at least here nobody should be really out of pocket. I mean, if everything is being refunded, that is a really good thing. No harm, no foul, just possibly some time wasted. Well, I'm not surprised to see the service go away. At the same time, I am a little bit disappointed. I was hoping they were going to put up a bit more of a fight. I was hoping it was going to get a little bit better. Anyways, here I also think it's worth pointing out that if you picked up a Stadia device not on the Google Play Store, I don't know if you're going to get a refund or not. Next up, we're talking about something doing the opposite of closing down, starting up. This is a brand new Kickstarter called PocketStar, and it's a very, very tiny gaming device. So this tiny device will be powered by an ESP32C3 processor. It will have vibration and also an accelerometer. It's also worth pointing out here that they state it has an ergonomic design. For a device that's incredibly tiny, maybe if you had tiny little hands it might be ergonomic, but I'm willing to bet it's probably not going to be the most ergonomic device out there. I could be wrong though. It does have a color screen, and apparently it will play Game Boy games and also Doom. On top of that, it will also come with some free built-in games. Interestingly enough, this device also supports multiplayer via Bluetooth, and there's an online scoreboard. And even more good news here, this project has already met its Kickstarter goal, and it still has 20 days left to go. And as for the price of the PocketStar, right now on Kickstarter it can go for as low as €49, with the retail price seeking to be about €59 to €60. And last up here, if you're a fan of Cuphead, you're really gonna like this news. Cuphead is getting an official physical release. It's coming out for Xbox, PS4, and Nintendo Switch, and apparently here it's going to be available at physical stores, not just an online thing. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a ton today. Let me know your thoughts about any of it in the comments below. And yes, I'm actually camping this time. Or is this a green screen? I don't know. You tell me. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.